this year 2020? Do you want to be among the people that will make so much money from this market in 2026? Or you want to be at the sideline complaining? Guys, complaining solves nothing. If you've written your goal for 2026, let me see it in the chat box. Just type goal, 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 goal. If you have written your 2026 goal for the financial market, let me see goal, goal. Just write goal. Let me see goal. Can you guys write goal in the chat box? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me see. You have to be intentional, guys. Guys, this market is a 7.3 trillion US dollar market. If you're not learning this skill, if you're not honing your skill, if you're sitting at the sideline, just murmuring, complaining, you will not make money from this market. Guys, there's so much to be made from this market. There's so much to be made. A lot of lives are changing. People are winning with this skill set. Sometimes I just wish, people can stretch themselves. People can be patient with the process, not coming in with a gambler's mindset, just to make money. People can be patient with the process. And I tell you, if you can be patient with the process, instead of complaining, keep learning, keep honing your skill. Guys, before the year comes to an end, you'll be glad you took that bold step. So for me, every day in the year 2026 is a day of gratitude. I can't thank God enough, for showing me the foreign exchange market, because there's so much to be made from this market. And with what we have in Wealth Hub 2.0, is aiding a lot of people, helping people make money while they stay, honing their skills. They keep learning. So while you're on Wealth Hub 2.0, the trades that are being called is helping you make money while you're learning to become a profitable trader. You hone your skill, you get to a level where you don't need a Chairman Ure to call out trade for you to make money. You don't need, any trader to call trades for you to make money, because you have, mastered the skill. You've gone through the learning process. You've burned the midnight candle, and you are ready to fly in this market. If you've not written your goal in this financial market for 2026, you are not doing yourself any good. Thank you so much, Ekana. I learned about the right mindset for trading today after watching the training. Thank you so much, Ekana. All I tell people is, you need to keep learning, keep honing your skill, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. So, but one thing about psychology of trading is this. If you're trading and your psychology is not top notch, you will fumble in the foreign exchange market. So even me, sometimes I make mistakes, most times, because I allow my greed take the best part of me. But I have my goals written down, I have my rules written down. So even when I go against, my rules, and I get my fingers burnt, all I tell myself is that you broke a rule, so that's a punishment for breaking the rules. Because if you're trading and you stick to your rules, you stick to the rules of the engagement, you will not get your hands burnt. You not keep getting your hands burnt. Because at times, we set certain percentage for us to hit in a day. And when we hit that target, we keep trading. We keep trading. We keep trading, because of greed, because we cannot control our greed. We all love money, and the money's in this market. There's enough money in this market. So what we'll be doing today, we'll be treating psychology of trading, which is all about emotions, how you put your emotions in check. I'll go ahead to share my slides, because whatever you're doing when it comes to the foreign exchange market, you need to put your emotions in check. You must put your emotions in check. must make sure that your emotions in check. That's why we always talk about psychology of trading, because no matter how good you are when it comes to trading, your psychology has to be top notch. Because if your psychology is not top notch, it's going to mess you up big time. If your psychology is not top notch, it will mess you up big time. So this is where decisions comes in, where we take decisions, because sometimes a trade is being called just because you feel people are making money from that trade and you are not making money from that trade. You see people, after that trade has taken profit, someone else might still jump in that trade just because you heard people are making money. So you must first work on your emotions if you want to trade right. So when it comes to emotions of trading, and for my slide here, you will see that why your brain is your biggest asset and greatest liability. So your brain, your emotions, you need to work on your emotions. So we have what is called the 80-20% rule in trading. Meaning trading is 20% technical skill and 80% mental control. So sometimes a winning trade becomes a losing trade because mentally, you're allowing your emotions, take the better part of you. I had someone called me and was telling me that all the trades that we keep celebrating that it has hit TP, that hers goes the other way around. What's wrong with her? Psychology. Psychology, when she's supposed to exit the trade, when she's supposed to put her parameters and all of that, fear, mental control. She doesn't have that control over her trading. You know how to trade, but you keep, taking losses, keep taking lessons. I call them lessons because whenever I call them lessons, they go down well with me. So you keep taking lessons just because of fear. You've not put your emotions in check. You don't want to lose money. You're too attached, and guys, if you're not a risk taker, if you don't want to take risk, don't even think about trading the forex market. Because if you're willing to take risk, then the forex market is for you. We make so much money from this market. We've gotten our fingers burnt. We've made a lot of mistakes from this market. At some point, we were so greedy because we're thinking we can make all the monies in the market just because of greed. So we have the survival instincts. Humans are wired for survival, like finding food, avoiding predators. These same instincts, fear and excitement, are exactly what leads to failure in the market. Fear. You see, some people, they are so attached to their monies. They are so attached to their money. You see, somebody will lose $10, $50, $100 from the market. The person will complain. The person will whine. Some, just because of that lesson they took, they will tell you they will never trade forex. There's nothing you will do to convince them that they will trade the forex market, just because they've taken, lessons from the market. The major players from this market are the major risk takers. If you're willing to take risk in this market, you're going to make so much. And the goal is to move from emotional reacting to mechanical execution. So you must always put your emotions in check. I can never overemphasize, about we putting our emotions in check. And we have the two masters, which fear and greed. Like I said earlier on, I am also a victim of greed. Sometimes I just want to make so much from the market after making money from the market, after hitting my goals, because I have my goals written down. But sometimes I want to break the rules because we are humans. But one thing about the foreign exchange market is that it teaches you discipline. If you are an indisciplined trader, the market will teach you discipline. It will force you to be patient, because most times we want the market to go our way. But the thing is, we cannot control the market. We must be patient, with the process. We must be patient with the market. After all analysis have been done, we cannot force the market to go our direction. We cannot force the market to do our thing. The market has a mind of its own, and the market will always do its thing. So the better you realizes that the market has a mind of its own and can do its own thing, the better for you. So we have FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Greed, the chaser. A lot of people, when it comes to the foreign exchange market, get greedy at some point. I was talking to a client. That was in October last year. So when I was talking to the client, I told him that, sir, this market, it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of monies to be made from this market. The only thing I need from you is for you to control your greed. If you're able to control your greed, if you're disciplined, if you're willing to be disciplined, you are patient with the process, you're going to make so much from this money, from this market. And what my client told me was that, no, I've seen money, I've touched money. There's nothing that I've not seen. So this market is not enough to make me get greedy. I say, sir, do you know that this market is a 7.3 trillion US dollar market on a daily turnover? No matter the monies that you have seen, I beg your pardon. I beg to disagree with you, sir. You have not seen the kind of money this market. He said, no, that I'm not saying the truth. Guys, when this man started trading, he got greedy. He got greedy. The trades that we call in Wealth Hub 2.0, they are top notch, guys. They are top notch. If you have a system that has 80 to 90% win rate, guys, when it comes to the foreign exchange market, chase that system. Do everything in your power to stay with that system. Learn, keep taking those trades, keep learning so that you become the best version of yourself. That was how this man got greedy. Trades keep coming, and that period we're just hitting back to back, back to back. In Wealth Hub 2.0, we keep hitting trades back to back, back to back. Once in a while, we hit stop losses. Stop losses are part of the business, guys. It's just like you doing business and saying you don't want to take lessons. You just want the business to be a 100-way straight. At some point, you will get some lessons. You will take some lessons. So which makes, the business why it's business. So that at some point he got greedy. So when he got greedy, he kept, after the trade has hit TP, he was still learning. He has not learned how to analyze the market very well. He was still in the process. So do you know that after we've taken trades and we've made monies, when he leaves the office, because he comes and we trade together, whenever he leaves the office, he goes and starts taking trades randomly, just because of greed. It was greed. Because he saw that his $1,000 were able to take $1,000 close to $5,000 in less than a week. Guys, he blew everything because of greed. So, I got angry and I was like, I told you not to take trades randomly. You're learning how to take trades. So just stick to the trades that we call on Wealth Hub 2.0. Do you know that it was greed just because he saw that $1,000 and in less than 5 days, it's almost doubled. It's almost doubled. So he wanted to make more money. So that is the case of so many people. And in that process, where you're trying to double the money, you're treating it like a gamble. You're treating it like a casino. You get your fingers burnt. Only if we can stick to the rules of the game, only if we can be disciplined. Like today, before 1, I was on call with Professor Ezekiel. So I was taking some trade. He asked me and I told him I'm taking some trades. The trades that they are calling, I'm on them. So I met my targets before 1 p.m. today. So while we're talking, I just told him that I've shut down all my trading accounts. I'm not taking any trades now. I'll just look at charts and then go for school runs. So discipline, if you can stay disciplined, you see, we would have avoided losing the whole money if he had stayed disciplined, if he had listened. So one thing, if you want to win this year again, you must be teachable and coachable. If you're not teachable and coachable, then Forex is not for you. For the fact that you have mentors, you have people that have gone ahead of you, people that are in this game for some time, you must listen. No matter how good you are, you might be very good with charts, but your psychology is messed up. No matter how good you are with charts, if you don't have the right psychology, you will fumble in the market. That is why we keep, teaching the psychology of trading, because they say faith cometh by hearing and hearing and hearing the word of God. So we'll keep preaching, we'll keep teaching, we'll keep showing people that want to listen, people that want to learn, people that want to change their story, from this market, because what we have here is massive. All you need to do is to be patient with the process, follow everything that we are teaching you, and you will be glad you did. So we have fear, the freezer, which causes analysis paralysis, being too scared to take a valid setup. Most people miss trades from even World Top 2.0 because, maybe one trade hit stop loss. So the next trade that might be the recovery trade because they are scared. And why a lot of people get scared because of using Lambo lot sizes. I tell my students then that they are using a Metama house lot sizes, Lambo lot sizes. You can imagine somebody with $100, wanting to triple the money, wanting to, multiply the money, doubling the money as if you are in a casino. Why not, do compounding, be patient with the process, and you're going to make so much. I think some people enjoy losing an account and then start looking for monies to take to fund their account again. If only we can stay disciplined, if only we can stick to the rules, I tell you, we're going to make so much money from this market, and we will not keep losing, keep getting our fingers burned, keep crashing our accounts. So this year, you need to write your goals down. You need to be, willing to make so much from this market. You need to set your goals, set your priorities straight this year. What we have here is exceptional. People are winning with what we have here. People are winning. Lives are changing. I know a lot of people that it has been back-to-back withdrawals. Back-to-back withdrawals. For me, I cannot even say how much I've made this January. I've made so much from this market, and it's just the first month. While I was still trying to perfect my skill, I'll tell you that January is not a good time for me to trade. But from the day we started trading in January, it has been back to back. In fact, every day I do withdrawals. I don't just post it on the group because I don't just want to tension some people. Every day I do withdrawal. Every day I place withdrawal. Every day I place withdrawal. That's how sweet this market can be. That's how sweet if you're willing to be patient with the process, if you're willing to, keep learning, keep honing your skill while you're taking these trades, you will make so much from this market. And most times we hate to lose. So when we lose, it messes our psyche. So why we hate to lose? The hope trap, pain versus pleasure. Scientifically, the pain of a loss is felt twice as strongly as the joy of a gain. So that is why some people, after losing $100 or $1,000, they will tell you they are not trading again. Something happened before Chairman traveled to the US. So he was coming to the office. He placed some trades, and before he got to the office, the market, turned against him, and he lost over $8,000. You know, when he came to the office, he called me that, where am I, that I should come down. I said, are you not coming upstairs again? He said, no, I should come downstairs. That was how I went downstairs to meet him. He said, do you know what just happened? He said, I just lost 8,000 naira. He showed me the trade. He said, do you see what happened? I was coming to come. Please, can you guys mute yourselves, please? If you're on this call, please mute yourselves. That, can you see what just happened? I lost 8,000. You know, we now started looking at the charts. You know, the market turned against him. There was a news that just happened. And the thing, because, you know, chairman enters with Lambo lot sizes, because his account is actually big, very big. So he had to close those trades because the market turned against him. And we talked about it casually. You know, we're even smiling. Only for me to ask him, I said, sir, wait, let me calculate this money in Naira. When we calculated the money, I said, sir, can you see that it's almost 13 million Naira that you just lost now? The thing chairman, Ure will tell me that, don't worry, I'm going back home now. I want to go and trade. And you know that before he left for the US, he made over $10,000 again and was sharing with me. So we're now, you know, most times he's my accountability partner. So we share our trades. Then we'll now analyze, we'll critique, and we'll laugh about some. So we're now saying that this market, if you have so much depth of knowledge about this market, there's a lot of things that you can do. So if it's somebody else that has lost that kind of $8,000 that day, the person's life will not remain the same. You know, the person, you cannot call forest near the person. But this is the only market that every penny that you've lost from this market, you will recover everything if you stay consistent, if you're willing to go through the process, if you're being disciplined. This is the only market. It's a market, I'll put $18, $20 and grow it 5,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. There was one time I took 18,000 to 4,000 plus. $18 to 4,000 plus. So that is what, and every day, sometimes I just want $20. You know, I play with the small account and I still trade on my big account. So just to see what this market can actually, you know, do with the depth of knowledge, you can make so much from this market. So when people hit stop losses and they start complaining, or maybe they gamble with their trades and start complaining, I begin to wonder, is that how you want to make money from this market? We've gotten our fingers burnt. Some of us, why we stayed put in this market is because of the potential. You know, whenever I hear the market is 7.5 trillion US dollar market, I want to keep learning. I want to keep learning. I want to keep honing my skill. We have mentors that are closing up the market over $100,000 on a daily basis. We have some people that are doing $1 million every day. Some are doing way more than that from this market. So what are your goals? What do you intend to achieve? This year, do you want to still continue complaining? Do you want to still continue complaining when we have an information that can turn our life around? We have an information that if we stay disciplined, if we stay put, is a life changer. To me, I keep, you know, thanking God for my mentor, Dr. Dupe Usalo, for the day our paths crossed, you know, for her showing me this financial market. Since after graduation, I have never submitted CV anywhere. You know, I've gotten my fingers burnt, so I've had my own fair share from this market. Till now, sometimes I make silly mistakes. Why? Because of greed. Because you need to stay very disciplined to overcome greed. Because sometimes I've doubled an account, I've made like over 500%. If it's not greed, why are you still trading that day? Some people, for that whole week, they will not trade. Some people, if you've made so much on that account, you will not trade. Then we keep trading just because of greed. You know, and we have the hold and hope strategy. Because we hate the pain of a loss, we refuse to close a bad trade. You know, when I was learning how to trade, we keep saying it go turn, it go turn. That means the trade is going to turn to our favor. You know, it will go back to our own analysis. And in that process, we don't put stop losses. You know, in the process of the market is going to turn, you know, before you know it, it becomes a disaster. One trade will come, news or something like this, you just sweep the account, you just see margin call, that account is gone. You see that with discipline, that would have been avoided. But because we are greedy and because we don't want to take lessons, we hate to take a loss in the market as if we own the market. So we hate to take lessons whenever trade goes against us. Some people, when trade goes against them, that day throughout, you know, they are not themselves. They are not happy. That's why we keep telling people, never risk what you cannot lose in the market. If you know that you cannot risk some certain amount, if the market takes everything and you will not be yourself, don't bother risking it. So we have the ego problem. You know, most people would rather lose money than admit they were wrong. In trading, you must learn to fail small to win big. So you see, like when it comes to the stop losses, when we talk about the stop losses, the place of stop loss in the foreign exchange market can never be overemphasized. Yesterday, something happened while trading. I think in the afternoon, around three, you can see the way the market was behaving yesterday. You can see that sell candle, that very sell candle that just happened in the market. A lot of people were stuck in it the opposite way. Instead of putting a stop loss, if you had put your stop loss, if you want a 50 pip stop loss, it depends on your equity. So you should know the stop loss that you're willing to risk. If you want 50 pips, fine. If you want 100 pips, fine. It took so many people out. In fact, it closed a lot of people in negative. Why? Because they refused to put stop loss. And with small accounts, when you refuse to put stop loss like that, sometimes before you say jack, that account is gone. So you now start looking for monies to fund the account. Why not put your stop loss? If the market goes against you, you know that you still have something to build. I know most times when you don't have fund in your live account, that is when you see all trades will just keep, you know, hitting TPs, TP1, TP2, TP3. So it will now put you under pressure to look for funds, but that can be avoidable. So we have the gambler versus the professional shifting your mindset. So the gamblers, they focus on the big score. You know, the gamblers, they come to the market with, you know, a gambler's mindset, like people that are going to casino, you know, like Yahoo. They just want to make money. They just want to hit it big, not knowing that the foreign exchange market, there are processes to wealth, and there are processes that govern the financial market. You know, sometimes when trade goes against you, you just be asking yourself, was someone watching me? You know, as if these people were watching me, you know, after they've taken me out, the market turned and, you know, began to go in my direction. So you must stop treating Forex like a gamble. Forex is a business. And if you want Forex to pay you until you start treating Forex like a business, that is why you must have your goals for 2026 written down. Everyone should have a certain percentage they want to make in a day. If you've made that certain percentage on your account, no matter the trade Chairman Uriel calls, don't bother about trading. Just close your MetaTrader 4. Like I keep saying, if you know that your MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5 will put you into problem, can you delete it after trading? The following day, if you want to resume trading, you can still log in, input your details. If your MetaTrader 4 will cause you pain, why not delete it on your phone after taking your percentage for that day? This year, you have to be intentional if you want to make money from this market. Not that people will be making money and others will be complaining just because they are not doing things right. You know, and gamblers are driven by gut feeling. gets high on win, depressed on losses. They don't want to see lessons. They just want to keep winning, winning, winning. They don't want to see losses. Trades for excitement. They trade for excitement. Whenever they win, whenever they make money, you see them all excited. The next minute, they can blow all that money up. So, but you see, professionals, they trade for excitement, driven by rules and data. You must have your rules, your goals written down. You must have your trading journal. You must start trading and treating Forex like a business. If you don't treat it like a business, you will not make money from this market. People are cashing out big time. People are cashing out big time. And if you start enjoying the monies in the foreign exchange market, you will not want to work for anybody. That's just the truth. If you start getting consistent wins, making so much money, you want to live lives on your terms and conditions. You will not want to work for anybody. So, and professionals are emotionally detached from results. Trade for profits, it should be boring. And most times what happens with professionals, they don't get attached with lessons. When I take lessons from the market, I'll just, it's part of the business. And I've continued, I've moved on as if nothing happened. All I do is to check where I went wrong. Sometimes I just know that it's my greed. I'm only being greedy. I wanted to make so much money and I got caught up. I got caught up. So because I wanted to make so much from the money, even after hitting my target. So this year, you need to be intentional. You need to be intentional. You must write your goals down. Set your rules. I tell people that even God, respect rules. So if you can respect rules, if you can stick to your rules in this market, you're going to make so much from this market. You're going to make so much. And we have golden rules, for trading psychology, how to protect your mind and your money. So rule number 1 says trade with scared money. If you're trading money you need for rent, you will make emotional decisions. Only trade what you can afford to lose. Like I said earlier on, you must only trade what you can afford to lose. If you have house rent money, you have hospital bill, you want to pay school fees, don't go and gamble with it. Don't go and gamble with it because you want to pay bills. So you're under pressure to double that account. And in the process of doubling the account, tripling the account, multiplying that account, you are going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes because you have a target. You've already put the account. I want to hit so target. Maybe you say in a week, in 2 weeks' time, I need to triple this money so that I can pay house rent. Don't gamble with your house rent. Don't gamble with your children's school fees. Don't gamble with, monies that that you want to use for something like hospital bills and stuff. Don't gamble with it. Very important. The second rule is this, the 1% risk rule. Never risk more than 1% of your total account on a single trade. This keeps your fear levels low. Like I said earlier on, don't risk everything. Some people, when a trade is being called, they say because Chiama Uriel called the trade and his trades hardly hit stop loss, they put Lambo lot sizes. So when you're using Metama house lot sizes and the trade goes against you, it's going to sweep everything you have in that account. So what happens to you being disciplined? What happens to you sticking to the rules? You must write your rules down. If you want to make money from this market, you must state your rules. So which brings us to you calculating your stop losses. You know how much you're willing to lose, willing to risk on an account. 1%, 1%. If you can stick to the rules, guys, you will make so much money from this market. So we have rule number 3, walk away if you have a big win or a big loss. step away from the screen. Your brain is chemically imbalanced in those moments. Whenever you have a big win, sometimes over excitement, if you don't manage it properly, you can even lose that money. And whenever you've taken lessons from the market, close the screen. Lessons are part of the business. You need to know that lessons are part of the business. You win some, you lose some. But the good thing is that when your wins are more than your lessons, you are good to go. When you have more wins than lessons, you are good to go. And that is what we have in Wealth Hub 2.0. So when you hear somebody crying that the person has lost money very well, go and check the lot size the person is using. Because if you know how to put the normal lot size, if you know how to calculate your stop losses, you are going to make so much. Even when it hits you out, you know that you will come back, you will do recovery, and you still make profit on it. So avoid putting Lamborghini lot sizes, because when you take heavy lessons from the market, it messes a lot of people, their psyche. It messes them up. And the final thought is, you don't beat the market, you beat yourself. You don't beat the market, you beat yourself. Like I said earlier on, the market has a mind of its own. So the market will always do, its own thing. You can never force the market to do your own bidding. That is why when it comes to gambling, when you're gambling in this market, you're not doing yourself any good. All you need to do is to learn how to take those trades, learn how to analyze the market while we are feeding you with signals. While you're taking signals, you're making money. Learn how to do this market. What if tomorrow Chiamaka decides that he's not calling out trades? Are you not going to trade the market? Are you going to leave the market just because Chiamaka said he's no longer giving signals? That is why the education, when people come on Wealth Hub 2.0, I advise them to do the education. You see some people, they fund their account with $1,000, $2,000, and they just pay for signals, $100. And when you engage them, they have never traded before. They don't know anything about the foreign exchange market. And they don't want to get the education. And one thing with this market, you cannot cheat, you can't cheat the grind, and you can't beat experience. You need to go through the learning process. You must be patient with the process. Can you stretch yourself, even if it's 30 minutes? The year is just starting. The year is just starting. January is almost coming to an end. So can you be doing 30 minutes to 1 hour? 30 minutes to 1 hour, just sticking to those videos, learning your chart. 30 minutes to 1 hour before the year 2026. Give yourself 6 months. 6 months, before 6 months, and you will see that you begin to fall in love with the chart. You will see that you begin to love what is happening in the on your chart, the market. You will see that you begin to learn how to analyze the market yourself with the quality education that we have. So when some people pay huge money for trading and pay $100 for signal, they end up losing everything because they don't know how to trade. They've not gotten the right education. And the more you learn, the more you earn. That is the secret of the foreign exchange market. The more you learn, the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you learn, because some things will begin to make a whole lot of sense to you, because the more you put in the work, the more you earn. And one good thing about this market, when you know it, you know it. That's why it's a skill. It's a skill. When you learn it, nobody can take it from you. Nobody. You become a money magnet. Whenever you analyze the market, you just open your phone or your laptop, you play straight, and you make good money. So when you learn this skill, you will become a money magnet. So we must learn to be patient with the process. We must learn to be willing to go through the process. When I talk about the foreign exchange market, I talk about this market with a whole lot of passion, because it's a market that has changed my life for good. Everyone that knows me will tell you that this market has really changed my life for good. You know, based on where I'm coming from, I know where I'm coming from. And this market has so changed my life. So, and I don't get scared of money again. No matter the amount of money you're calling, it doesn't scare me because I know that give me some time, I trade the market and I make money from this market. So whenever I want to buy anything in dollars, in naira, I don't get scared. Just name the price. If I trade, I can get it. So that is the mentality I want everyone in World Cup 2.0 to carry this 2026. Learn this skill, get to a level that money no longer scares you. Money no longer becomes a prayer point because you know where to get the money. God has already answered your prayer by giving you this information. So the way you treat this information is left to you. The way you are hungry about the foreign exchange market is left to you. So I'm talking, like this because the year is just beginning. So there's a lot of things we can do this year. There's a lot that we can do. If we can stick to our charts, if we can stick to the learning process, we are going to do so much. We have a lot of people depending on us. We have a lot of lives out there that needs, to be touched. So, but the easiest way for me to touch lives is through the foreign exchange market. That's the easiest way for me to touch lives. That is why when it comes to the foreign exchange market, I put all my heart, all my mind and soul into it because this is the easiest way. When people ask me, people that are in need, they ask me for something. I know that, God has showed me this opportunity. God has opened my eyes for me to see that there's so much that we can do from this market. So fear is often a symptom of over leveraging. If you don't over leverage an account, there's no way you get scared when the market is going against you. But when you over leverage an account and the market is going against you, just small movements like this, you see, you become panicky because you know that if it continues, going the other way around, it's going to close you up. Why? Because you're using Lambo lot sizes. Lambo lot sizes are for people that have big accounts. If you don't have big account, leave Maitama House lot size for people that have the equity. So why put yourself through that stress? Why treat Forex like a gamble? Forex is a business, and until the day you and I start treating Forex like a business, Forex is not going to pay you. So you will just be listening to other people's testimonies, how they are making money, and you'll be among the naysayers, saying that the Forex market doesn't work. Guys, this market works 110%. Since last week, I've been withdrawing every day. Today, I did 2 withdrawals from the market every day. Yesterday, I did with every day I've been withdrawing from this market. Why is that possible? Knowledge. We have a platform. We have a system. We have a system. World Cup 2.0 is here to change lives. We are here to change the narrative. We are here to tell people that, Forex is not a scam. Forex is a well legit business. If you're willing to go through the learning process, if you're patient with the process, just be teachable and coachable. Whatever we ask you to do it. But no matter how you know the chart, sometimes we talk out of experience. Just listen. We know you know it. Unlearn what you've learned. Be willing to go through the learning process. Be teachable and coachable. So if your heart races every time the price moves against you, your position size is likely too large. Lamborghini family, and Maitama House lot sizes for your psychological comfort zone. So you must learn to take, normal lot sizes. You must learn to be patient with the process. Lessons are part of the business. We win some, we lose some, but our wins are way more than our lessons. So I want to super celebrate each and every one of you. I want to say this year is going to be one of our best years. I know that a lot of people that are on the call, for people that are yet to join, you need to, take a decision. You need to, take a decision. You need to talk to yourself. Do you want to still keep complaining? Do you want to keep complaining while others are winning? You need to talk to yourself. Why do you need to do this for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for the people that are depending on you? For me, I decided to trade because of my mom, my family, my sibling, because I wanted to rewrite my story. I usually tell my mom then that I don't want to, I don't want to suffer. I don't want to suffer. So I decided to take the task. I decided to change my story. I decided to rewrite my story by my own self. Burning the midnight candle, I am still learning. Sometimes around 1 a.m., I and Chairman Yure were still analyzing charts. Sometimes he will call me, we'll talk, we'll analyze the market. So I've taken that upon myself, to liberate my family, to liberate my children, and every other person that God has sent my way. I want to be a blessing to them. And God has given us a vehicle, financial market. With this financial market, guys, you can do a lot of stuff with this market. So I want to super celebrate each and every one of you. I want to say that let's keep winning. I want to say that let's keep honing our skills. Don't forget to write your goals down. Don't forget to go all out to chase them. Don't allow anybody distract you. No distraction. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the ball. Let's be focused. This market is a 7.5 trillion US dollar market on a daily basis. So the people taking over $100,000 a day, they don't have 10 heads. So it's a process. So if you can continue learning and being patient with the process, whatever goal, whatever your desire, is to win in this market, you achieve it. As long as you can see it, you can achieve it. Chairman said he wants to achieve $10 million this year. So your own goal might be $100,000. Some might be $10,000. Some might be $500,000. So it depends on your goal. So whatever goal that you have written down, I'm here to tell you that it's achievable, with consistency, with persistency, with doggedness, the right mindset, and also being with the right people. Someone once said, if you hang around the barber's shop, one day you get a haircut. So this community is going to ignite the light, the fire in you. So let's continue learning. Let's continue jumping on calls. And if you have someone out there that is suffering and the person has potential to make it big time in this market, show them this market. Don't hide it. Show them. It's only an ignorant person that will tell you that Forex is a scam. We have experienced it. We can tell you, we have receipts to show you that Forex is not a scam, it's well regulated. So we have receipts everywhere that Forex is well regulated. If you can go through the learning process, hone your skill very well, you're going to make it big time in this market. So I want to super celebrate each and every one of you. I want to say thank you for jumping on the call. I will give room for questions. If we have questions, I'll give room for 1 or 2 questions so that we can end the call and everybody goes, and rest. So thank you. And if you gain value from today's presentation, type in value, value, value. Just type in value, 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 value. Let me see it coming in. If you gain value, if you learned something from today's presentation, let me see the values coming in. Let me see the values coming in. So if you have any question, just raise your digital hands. Raise your digital hands. If you have questions, just raise your digital hands so that we take your questions and Thank you everyone. I can see the values coming in. Thank you so much. We can make so much from this market. Let's stay disciplined. Let's write our goals down. Don't allow anybody distract you. Even when you hit stop loss, don't allow it distract you. I've gotten my fingers burnt so much from this market, but today I can tell you that everything the market took from me, I've recovered it. I've recovered it. So let's be patient with the process. Let's be patient with the process. And I tell you, you'll be glad, you stayed put, grinding, grinding. So thank you, everyone. I can't see, I don't think we have any question here. Let me check again. Do we have any question? Okay, in absence of no question, I want to super celebrate each and every one of you. I want to say thank you for staying on the call. Let's all have an amazing, okay, I can see Ekenan. Ekenan, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you so very much for this evening's impartation. Let me use that word.
You're welcome, sir.
There was something you said that is actually my real